Hello, my astrology friends. This is Lada from astrolada.com. And today, my guest is my dear friend and incredible astrologer and healer, Marina Stoichkova. Hello, Marina.
Hi, Lada. Nice to see you.
Lovely always to see you from your beautiful office. And today, the topic is creativity. Can you tell us a little bit more what exactly do you mean by creativity, how to find it in the horoscope?
Yes, sure. Creativity. I think this is one of the most exciting topics. And I think also it's much larger than what we normally understand by it. So by creativity, I don't mean just music, painting, like just art. But creativity is much more than that. It's basically about your unique self-expression. That's what I mean by creativity. And today I would like to talk about this idea. First of all, what is important to know about it, how the chart can help you to find your creative expression and potential. Also, astrologically speaking, which are the most important indications, and generally, why do we need this? Like, what can we achieve through our creativity? So, the first thing, as usual, is to consider that your whole chart is important. Yes, there are indications which are essential, which will be guiding you, but you always need to consider the whole chart because it's like yourself. It's considering every characteristic and quality that you have. And as a combination, they become something unique, something different. And just like our birth chart is absolutely unique, you know that even twins have, it might be small differences, but there are always some differences. So our whole chart is like a mirror for our creative, unique potential. And a very important thing here to know is that your birth chart is the potential that you have for your whole life. And many people have this false idea that, for example, if you are already at your 30s or even 40s, 50s, you already know your whole potential and there isn't anything new to find after that.
That's why people stop looking and saying, "Oh, I'm too old to learn a new language. I'm too old to start something new."
Yes, but that's not true because your chart shows potentials which can be unleashed later in your life, not necessarily when you were born or even when you are, really young. I like to give this example. For example, let's say that when a child is born, a baby is born, so they can't talk, they can't understand logically, that's normal, everybody understands this. But we have the potential to learn, a language, to speak, to communicate. And it happens usually around 2-3 year old of age or later. And this we understand and we get it. But the same is true also for other potentials. So let's say you may have a writing potential, and if it's not expressed or, you are not in touch with it right now, it doesn't mean that, it's not there as a seed which can be developed later in your life. So there is a time for everything. And some things are happening, later in our lives, or some are happening earlier. And the idea is that we need to keep exploring, because the more we get to know our own chart, the more we can express our authenticity and our full potential. And by the way, it's not easy to express your whole potential. Actually, even our famous spiritual teacher, Ben Sadunu, he says that a person can express only up to 30% of their potential during their whole life. And the rest is kind of like for next lives. So we really have a huge potential. Of course, it's different for everyone. I'm not saying that everyone can be a genius, and we don't need to be a genius, but everyone can find their own passion and their own love. And that's what creativity is all about.
So that's about feeling happy in life, isn't it? To find your passion. It doesn't even, it can be your career. That's not a problem. But it's more about living a full of fulfilling life, because fulfilling life is not about consuming. Fulfilling life is about creating. And it can be as simple as fixing having natural talent at circuits and fixing electrical stuff. That's also a creative talent, isn't it? Anything that makes you shine like a Christmas tree when you're about to do it.
Yes, absolutely. And everything that you do in your own way. And it doesn't need to be something revolutionary. You can do, I don't know, you can cook in a creative way. You can take care of your children in a creative way. You can sell ice cream in a creative way. So creativity is really much more than just art. Of course, art is a big part of it. But we are capable of living our whole life in a creative way. And that's my own passion. So that's what I'm really interested in, and I want to share with people. And
you're
it's
starting
really
a course,
inspiring.
aren't you? Marina is starting a course to discover your creativity. Again, the creativity is anything that will make your soul sing and feel happy. And that's my biggest issue, Marina. I think maybe I should take it because I have my astrology, my kids, and I can't figure out what else makes me happy. It's so hard to me. So many people say, well, I'm unhappy, but I don't know what I like. That's my issue. I don't know what else I like except astrology. It's very limiting for me. So you can, so tell me about a bit the course and give us a few examples about creativity as well.
Yeah, sure. So honestly, the idea came from what do I really want to do? So I wanted to do something which is a creative expression of myself. And that's how I came up with this whole thing. Like, because I'm currently interested in this myself, because of many Neptune energies which are triggering me, but also I want to kind of like share this flow with other people. And that's how the idea came. So we will spend a few months together, so between now and the end of the year. And people will be able to learn astrology. So they can start from the basics. If they don't have any knowledge, it's totally fine. It will include recorded classes on natal astrology, which people watch. And then we meet every week live and we discuss this information from the perspective of creativity. So, for example, how the planets or different aspects or house positions. So one by one, we will cover everything, every point, but from the perspective of creativity. So, for example, starting with the elements, let's say the air element. What is the best creative expression for the air element? Let's say speaking, shaping, ideas, and all of that. What could be the potential blockages also? Like, for example, not being present enough, or, losing focus, or so we will talk about everything that's included in natal astrology, so someone can really start from the basics. But then we will talk how this can help you to understand it from a creative expression, so how you can express yourself. And
that's more like a course on, it feels like a course on living joyfully to me, and not just creativity, how to find your inner joy. Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted.
Yes, and it's not surprising because no, it's fine. I'm saying that it's not surprising. What you're saying makes total sense, because also creativity is mostly related to fifth house. If we need to define, like, even though, yes, it's your whole chart, but if we need to pick one house or one thing, it would be the sun, but also your fifth house. And fifth house is about the things that we love the most. It's love and romance, it's creativity, it's our hobbies, it's our ability to take risk, also very important for the creative expression, and children, and everything that brings you joy. So yes, when you find the way to express yourself creatively, that equals also finding joy and happiness and fulfillment in your life.
Wow.
So
perfect.
Yeah, and the nice thing is that there is also a lot of sharing in this whole process. because when you're doing something creative, you are sharing it with the world, with other people. It could be with your closest circle, your family, let's say, or it could be if you're, you know, like yourself, you have an audience, it could be sharing it with thousands of people. But the joy is still there, you know, when you can tap into this energy. So I'm really excited about it. And I think that many people will find, you know, this sparkle, you know, what makes you feel alive. Because again, fifth house, this is our connection to life. And you know how people with strong fifth house, they have this impulse, you know, to
Exuberance. Yeah. They're happy like children. It's incredible because most of what people complain, adults now, is not feeling happy and is feeling disconnected. But they're just sitting at home watching TV, feeling depressed the majority of the times. While you need to take that risk that we talked, the fifth house, to try something. And because many times I'm like, I'm so bored. Should we go to a restaurant? Should we do? And the other day I said, okay, let me just role play with the kids for 1 hour. I felt so alive. I felt so like it wasn't huge creativity, whatever, just something silly. We played the Bible story, everyone was whatever. And it's just such simple things. And I know that you take singing classes, you bought a piano now, even, so you need to explore, and we've forgotten how to try new things. And then we wonder, why is life so boring? Why is it so, you know, I need it's yeah, that's one of my biggest issues. That's why I'm quite fascinated by what you're talking about and how to find joy in life. And when you find joy, everything else comes, isn't it? Because
yes,
you start
absolutely.
prospering in other areas, you start glowing. And when you start glowing because you're doing something you love daily, you have found some passion, some talent, you attract love. Is the fifth house of falling in love. You feel in love with life, first of all. So that's like
Yes.
how to feel in love, fall in love with life and yourself. And then you'd attract the love, you'd attract the fortune, because the fifth house is the house of fortune. If you do the thing of the fifth house, the creative expression, you'd become financially more fortunate as well and lucky. This is the house of winning at something, at games. And so I think it's all interconnected. Once you address the creative part, the co-creating, and as we said, it's not just artistic expression. Can you give us a few examples of particulars?
Sure. I just want to say what might be, I will also give, of course, concrete examples, but what might be stopping people from expressing their creative potential. It could be this, like feeling like you are growing old or allowing yourself to grow old. And you are detaching from fifth house. You are detaching from the inner child, from the playfulness, from the creative expression. So if you don't want to feel like you are growing older and older, or you are, you know, becoming a little more dead, or, you know, like less vital, put it this way, less vital, and there's no joy, you don't, you know, you're becoming like an old person, that's when you detach from fifth house. So it has a lot to do with connecting to our inner child, because that's where the joy is, the sparkle is, the creative expression is. And that's why it can get people out of, you know, apathy, depressive states. And that's why art is used also as a therapy. There are so many modalities, you know, which are literally helping people handle with many different things, including PTSD, depression. Of course, this is not specialized training, you know, for people who have suffered for trauma. This is like another thing. But yeah, if you feel bored, pessimistic, you experience apathy on a daily basis, creativity, and most importantly, finding your own way of creative expression can really help you to feel more vital. And honestly, I'm thinking that even like every aspect can potentially be used in a creative way. Yes.
What about Saturn conjunct Sun? Creativity, it's like the antithesis. The Sun is the most creative, and Saturn is the one that makes you feel, oh, I'm old, life is a drag. And especially people who are having Saturn transits on their Sun, on their Moon, on their Ascendant, like I've had it through my first house. They feel like, you know.
Yeah, I totally get it. I'm a Capricorn, so I'm closely familiar with the Saturn energy and influence. You know, for example, Sun and Saturn, you need to work with forms. For example, for architecture, this would be an incredible aspect. It depends, of course, on the sign position, but you need to do something with, you know, material forms. It could be sculptures. You need to touch something and put something into a form. And to make this connection, you know, because the sun is your inner self, like your creative essence and expression. It's like finding a way to get what is inside of you in some kind of external form in the outside world, and to make this bridge, you know, like a connection between the inner and the outer, the reality around us.
Like
so
playing with clay. Oh, my son has
yeah.
Sun Saturn trine. He loves Legos. He's like, this is his most
Building up something.
yes,
Yes.
yes. Oh wow.
Yeah. So if we think about it, like every aspect can be expressed in a creative way, in a meaningful, constructive way. Of course, there are some aspects which are, or positions or indications, which are considered to be even more beneficial, you know, than others. And here, I think the outer planets are extremely important. Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus, because the outer planets, they are transpersonal, so they define things which affect the whole humanity and the evolution of the consciousness and where we are all going. And, you know, it's not necessarily something that we rationally understand, of course, but still, those planets are essential for our global evolution and movement. And the aspects between the outer planets and your personal planets can indicate if you can be like a channel of some kind of, you know, higher energy, or something which seems to be, let's say, a trend or an important direction for humanity. So you can implement it. You can be, it doesn't mean that everyone will revolutionize the world, you know, but you can be one of the people that are bringing something from it. And the outer planets are also allowing the person, especially Pluto, is allowing people to be able to have influence on others. And that's the reason why, because you are able to like translate an energy which is beyond yourself and even beyond the conscious understanding. So people are magnified, they are impressed, they are, you know, they can't stop looking at you because you are giving them this flow, which is again transpersonal. It's something very special. So the outer planets are extremely important for this. And people who have strong outer planets, not necessarily only in fifth house, it could be in different positions. You may have, yeah, it could be Pluto on your ascendant, or I don't know, Neptune on MC, or aspects with your sun and moon. Like there are many, many options. But if you have strong outer planets or accentuated outer planets, even if they're problematic, I mean, even if they have difficult aspects, you need to find a way to express or to be a channel of something important for other people as well. In other words, you need to do something which is not just for you, but has like a larger impact. Obviously, for someone, this could be, you know, like being part of a community of, I don't know, 20 people and being the leader there, or inspiring people there. For someone else, it could be affecting, you know, the life of thousands of people. But both are important, you know, even if it's just for your community, you can still be, you know, the source or the translator of something higher. So the outer planets are extremely important in this. And what I have noticed, honestly, is that people who have outer planets, strong outer planets, but they don't use this. I mean, they are not doing something big or something that has a social impact or, you know, affects more people or serves a higher, bigger idea. Usually what happens is that they have serious problems because the outer planets are very powerful and their energy can also go in a more destructive way, a direction in their life. And we know this, like with Neptune, for example, we can have different relationship problems, illusions, sometimes addictions, problems with reality. Each of the outer planets can be also destructive if we don't use the energy in a meaningful way.
Wow,
So,
that's
and
so
that
true.
applies.
That's so true. My dad has Sun conjunct Pluto, and all his life he was someone who was a leader in political, whatever. And when he retired, and he started after a few years, he started going crazy, literally crazy. He started breaking down mentally, and he started praying, and whatever God told him, or I don't know how he came, that he needs to use this energy to influence others, otherwise it will go worse. So it's in his third house. So he started writing about very painful topics, Pluto, obviously, and about hidden things, about because he was in politics, and he saw the underbelly of that, and how there is involvement of some very dark things. So he started writing about those things, and all his symptoms that his nervous system was breaking down, he was going crazy, they disappeared. And he tells me now, if he doesn't write for a week, his hands start immediately, like he says, I'm gonna explode from this energy. And I feel the same with astrology. I'm way less destructive, self-destructive now than I was before. I was, at least every time I feel this because the external planets, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, which I have them all very strong, it feels like I need to take something to go down, or I don't know. And then I take my phone and start writing on astrology or make a video. So I totally understand what you do, what you mean. Yeah. So that, can I be on your course? Can I come?
Of course, you are more than welcome.
Which days is it gonna be?
We are starting, I think, on the 23rd of March. So we will meet, for now, the plan is to meet Thursdays, 11 a.m. Eastern. But there is another part which is also very exciting about this program, that we, in addition to astrology, if someone wants to have a technique, a tool to transform their life or to work on their difficulties, we have also the solution to that. This technique, we have talked about this a little bit previously, but I will mention it for the new people. It's called GSR. It's a system for self-development, which allows you to work with your own inner energy, inner states, feelings, everything that's going on inside of you, which is coming from the family system. Everything which we are experiencing is affecting us, coming from the ancestors. So people will be able to, that's optional. So if someone doesn't want this part, that's totally fine. But if they want to learn GSR as a technique, they can do this. And we will have also regular meetings twice a month, where I will support people and help them to learn how to use GSR in combination with astrology. So for example, let's say you notice that, I'm just giving an example. Let's say someone has Saturn in their 5th house and they start exploring it and they feel like, oh, I'm afraid of criticism. I'm afraid that if I show up, my potential, I will be judged or whatever, they start to get closer to their problems. Then with GSR, you have the technique that can help you to transform this energy. Your Saturn in 5th house will not turn into Jupiter or Mars, but it will turn into the most constructive energy it could be. So for example, it will help you to be organized, to sit down and do your art or creative expression or whatever, and like organize everything and be on time. So that's like literally the most transformative technique I have used. I have shared this with you. So
I can confirm Marina did it on me. You don't have to do it or you alone. You can do it on yourself, or it was about 1 hour it took. It looked for me very strange. She was just moving around with little pieces of paper, and because I told her I cannot enter an elevator, and I've developed claustrophobia in the last few years, and I don't understand why. I could not fly on planes. And she did it, and I flied on planes. I entered elevators. It's been 6-7 months now, and I I'm like, I'm still afraid to put myself constantly in elevators, but I've done it. And I fly it and I'm not afraid. I'm flying again in a small plane in a few weeks. So I'm like, I don't know how it works. Voodoo stuff, but it works. So that would be fascinating to learn the process of that technique.
Yes, everybody can learn. Like you need to get, it's like a separate module which allows you to learn how to use the technique for yourself. Everyone can learn, and then you can use it whenever you want to. You just need, we work with such, very simple papers. You need them. You need a little bit of space. You need a little bit of time. And wherever you are at any time, you can do a session for yourself and have like a problematic state. Let's say, oh, now I'm nervous or I'm angry at someone or whatever, something has happened. You do a session for yourself and you release this energy.
And you see where it stems from. Yeah.
Yes, because you release all of the triggers which are not yours. Because when something happens in reality, it triggers many other energies which are not a direct response to this, but they are still affecting you. So it's extremely powerful and transformational, and we can work on really, really deep stuff. So my idea for this program is first to make it like a group experience. So it's like a flow of energy for everyone to join and like share this. And it's nice if people have an intention. Like you don't need to be also extremely creative or to consider yourself a creative person at all. What you need is just a desire to learn more about yourself or astrology, or to improve your life, basically, or to find joy in life,
to feel more happiness.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
that's
Yes.
what I want.
Yeah. And to have like a concrete intention. I mean, it could be concrete or general. For example, my intention is to focus more on music, playing the piano, like that would be my own creative project. But for someone else, it could be to create a creative business or to find something that inspires them, or, it could be more general. So
get an idea what their mission
yeah.
is, get an idea what they're best at, what inspires them. And definitely it's not just about creativity, it's about finding your mission, your career, finding joy for someone, finding and that will work if someone is feeling unhappy overall. I guess that will help a lot. And
Yes,
can you give me just another small examples of certain aspects, how they can, what is their creative potential, just for people to hear maybe that?
sure. Well, my personal favorites are the Neptune aspects. So Neptune with Venus, for example, is one of my favorite aspects, which I have seen. And a creative expression would be to, for example, create something beautiful. It's one of the best aspects for music. Or, for example, Mars with Venus or Mars with Neptune is a great aspect for dancing also. Of course, we can get into more specific things if we consider like the sign position of the planets and other stuff, like, it could be more concrete. But in general, like with Mars, it needs to be something also with the body, like to do something. For example, I have a friend, she recently started doing something, but I'm not sure how it's called, like rolling some kind of fire stuff, and
yes,
doing
that's
some kind of
perfect.
tricks. Yeah, like it's very impressive. It's like you need to be very flexible, aware of the space around you. Speaking of the space, for example, Saturn, what is also Saturn helpful for? To be able to feel the space and forms. So even for dancers, it could be helpful because you need to be aware at any time, like if you dance with a partner, like what is the space between you and your partner, or the audience, or the chairs or stuff. Because if you don't have an accurate perception of the space around you and the reality, you will make mistakes. You will step on your partner's feet, or you will do something else. So Saturn helps with this, sensing the space around you
and the control, to be able to stop when you. Wow, that's fascinating. Yes.
Yeah, and in music, for example, it's the feeling of rhythm. you know, which is essential. You need to be very rhythmic, you know. In dancing also it helps, but it's in singing or playing a musical instrument, Saturn is essential to
Maybe
have
that
this.
would be maybe drums or any kind of music, I guess.
Any, yeah, you need to be able to follow this rhythm, you know, not to go faster, not to go slower, but to have this Saturn repetitive, you know, consistent rhythm. So even Saturn has a positive, you know, influence on creativity. Yeah, everything else, like every planet may have by creative expression, you know, another way to put this is like a higher level of expression, or like the most positive way of expressing it. And
higher level,
absolutely everything in the chart can be expressed in a constructive way. Another thing, by the way, I don't want to sound, I'm a Capricorn, so I don't want to sound over optimistic, or, you know, like this is some kind of rainbows and butterflies thing. Like, first of all, it's very realistic, but another thing, I'm going through a different perspective now, is exploring your shadow. Because the psychological shadow, Carl Jung talks about this concept for the first time in the Western science. The shadow, as he describes it, is what we don't want to see in ourselves. Qualities that we judge, we consider that they are very bad. We don't recognize this. Like, we are trying to really lie to ourselves that this is not us, you know, because of society or family environment or whatever, many reasons, or even our own perception. But the other thing is that when you are very disconnected from this energy, there is also a creative potential there. You know, it's not just bad things. It's not just negative stuff. There is also a lot of creative potential. So working with your shadow, with the things that you don't want to see, you judge, you can't accept, by working with this and, you know, bringing it into light, you also unleash your positive creative potential.
Give me an example. Can you give me an example of your head? I love examples.
Yeah, let me try to find something. Because it's not one concrete thing, and it could be like very disconnected, you know, it could be just together with the bad stuff, you are suppressing the good stuff. But let me try to find. Yeah. Let's say that you think that imitating people is very bad. You know, you should never imitate. You should always do things your own way. Like, imitation is considered to be, you know, you shouldn't do it.
Plagiarism.
And this is part, yeah. And this is part of your shadow. Like, you say, no, I'm never imitating people. No, I would never follow anybody else. No, I will always.
It's the type that is like, oh, whatever is modern now, whatever it's trending, I'm never gonna like it. Like, I'm so unique. I'm so
Yes.
I never like mainstream music. I never like, yeah. I've seen such things.
And when you work with this, like when you allow yourself to see that, okay, maybe there is a small part of me, not the whole me, because there are always different parts within us, but there is one part of me which actually can imitate people. And when you allow yourself to see that, it doesn't mean that you will copy the work of other people, but you are able to see their work and learn from this. Because, for example, let's say that you want to become a choreographer, okay? Like, create your own, I don't know, a play or something, or learn to dance, or, you know, create something. First, you need to follow other people's steps. You know, a teacher should show you, okay, this is how we move, or we have this combination, and first you repeat. First, you need to follow them. And only then, at a certain point, you will learn to also do things in your own unique way. So when you say, no, I would never follow others, or no, I would never imitate, you're also closing your ability to learn, which eventually will help you to become a better creator and really do things in a unique way without copying. It doesn't mean you need to be a copycat, but this is just, you know, like something that came now as an example. And obviously,
or if someone is afraid of love, they've been very hurt in love, that's their shadow side, they don't want to go there, they don't trust people. how can you tap into that creatively? I guess that would be Saturn, Venus. So Venus, a lot of hard aspects to outer planets or something.
Yeah, Saturn with Venus needs distance. So they need some kind of separation. And a positive way for this aspect to work, which I have seen, is when people are spending some time apart. Like one is traveling for work and, they are on and off. But in creativity, actually, Venus and Saturn can be a great aspect. Again, it helps you to work with the forms. And I have seen people working with antique stuff, antique items, paintings, old valuable things, which have an artistic value. They have aspects between Venus and Saturn. So it's, the ability to value the old, what has proven to be, a classic or something, or classical music, of course. It can also be like that.
Design, decoration, space and beauty, Venus, and how to arrange things, Saturn as well. Yeah.
Yes, and depending on the signs, it could be, for example, let's say if we have some earth energy also, it could be gardening, it could be, nurturing something or helping something to grow. So yeah, it has many positive potentials. One more thing I want to say in general, which is important for people. It doesn't matter if they want to join the program or not, but if you want something also that will help you to move forward or to become more creative or to find more about yourself, you need to be very honest with yourself, and you need to open up to see things that you may not like so much about yourself. Because if you want to keep up only with the idealized version of, it's not me, it's the world, or you don't want to see the truth, that separates you from your own uniqueness. So to embrace your full uniqueness and creative potential, it means that you need to be ready to go on a journey, to see some things that you may not like so much, you may not be so proud of them, but first when you see them, you can change them, you have like the conscious awareness of that, and then it makes you more complete. That's one of the reasons why people can't really do something or struggle to do. It's like trying to walk with one of your feet, and the other one is not moving because you are detached from it. It's like, because we live in a world of dualities, right? And we always have the light and the shadow. And the more we are in the center, but also able to see the two sides and integrate them, the more we can create.
How can you accept your dark side? Like I have lots of oppositions of Pluto very tied to my planets, and Pluto is such a rapey dark planet. How can I accept that it's part of me? I always project it on others. They're the predators. Them. They're trying to hurt humanity. Like I can't accept that's me. Sometimes it's hard.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. It's that's one of the things I'm saying. Like people need to be ready to go on this journey. Like it's not a 1 week thing or like, a quick fix. Yeah, it's a process. With Pluto, it's, what's interesting, this need to see the good and the bad. Like you need to see, or you recognize the bad because you need to see yourself as, like being better or feeling strong or like all of this. So one of the directions to work on is with the feeling of weakness. Like what makes you, for example, feel weak or vulnerable, or why it would be, so unacceptable or scary to be weak or to be small or to be, to not have control. So yeah, there are always, plus Pluto brings the most transformative potential. So those could be the best energy healers, the best, the people who have like so much impact and influence on others.
They say once they've worked through their shadow and they've accepted it and they've integrated, I've seen that they can be so impactful. They say one word to someone and they change their life. I'm like, how? How is that possible?
Exactly. Yes, 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 absolutely. But first you need to, see this and accept it for yourself.
This is
So
so
it's a
fascinating.
very transformative work.
When is it
Yeah.
starting? On March 23rd? And
23rd. Yes, we are starting on March 23rd. So again, I will just make a short review because we spread it a little bit. Like people, first of all, for who is this training? You can be a total beginner in astrology, or you may already know astrology, but if you want to specifically focus on creative expression or become an astrologer who works with creative people and, helps them find their creative potential, that's also very helpful. So you will be able to learn the whole natal astrology course. Plus, we will meet every week and we will discuss the material from a creative perspective. So how you can use it, we will do practice. By the way, after each lesson, I have analyzed the chart of a famous person. So people will also like see many popular creative people, like what are the indications in their chart. So I think it's also a great practice. And those who are ready and willing to transform their energy and their issues and, really unleash their potential, they can learn GSR also. If, again, they are willing, we will have a separate training, which will be included for those who have it's called first module of GSR. We'll organize a training with a curator, so they will help them with the technique. And we will meet twice a month, where I will teach people how you can use GSR, the transformational technique, with astrology, so that you can really tap into your chart and the potential there.
thank you so much, Marina. I will put the link below in the description, and hopefully I can also join, because this is fascinating what you're talking about. And I think it can be used also by people therapists and counselors who are working with someone, and when they can see, like you say, art and creativity is used as therapy. So that can be useful on your personal life or professionally for you. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see to join you on this journey as well. Thank you.
An exciting journey. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you.
You're